You're from S.H.I.E.L.D.
Never heard of it.
Hey guys, welcome back to another one of my Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Season 6 videos. This is going to be your March update, and we've kind of got a lot of news. I'm not just going to be talking Season 6, there's a little bit on Season 7 as well, but nonetheless, the part about Season 6 is going to be pretty decent, like really insightful. Now after I'm done with the new stuff, I'm gonna circle back to the stuff I've mentioned on my previous video, my latest update video, and that is just to make sure that this video adheres to the title I've given it, what we know so far about Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Season 6. So in the spirit of not prolonging this introduction, and without further ado, let's get started with number 1. So there's this interview out there with Gregg, or when it comes to Gregg, and he did kind of tease a lot of stuff, or hint at a lot of stuff, explain a lot of stuff as well. Now, one of these things happens to be what the new Coulson, or the new character that Gregg is playing, is all about, and he did describe him as a character that will terrify our agents, the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Now, we have discussed a lot of options when it comes to Gregg's new character, or the character that's presented on the upcoming season. Some of my favorites out of those would be out of the window if we do take the words of Gregg at face value and assume with certainty that he's basically not throwing us off. For example, the Ghost Rider theory would be totally out of the window. I mean, that theory would not fit. You cannot describe the Ghost Rider, or a version of the Ghost Rider, as a terrifying character to this team, the S.H.I.E.L.D. team. They've dealt with the Ghost Rider before, they know what a Ghost Rider is, and they do understand that in a manner of speaking, their goals do align. But this might eliminate a lot of theories, but it still leaves the door wide open for a lot of other theories. Like for example, the butterfly theory, it's the same Coulson, no memories of being Coulson, and someone without any kind of empathy. That's pretty terrifying. And of course, in considering we've got a character named Butterfly on the upcoming season of the series, we're assuming over here that she's possibly the equivalent to Butterfly in the comics, only not mutant, because mutants are not happening on AOS Season 6. But you've still got the possibility of Skrulls, even though I don't think that's happening, considering Kevin Feige has recently talked about a possibility of a secret invasion in the future. We've still got Zartans, who are very similar to Skrulls, shapeshifters as well, and happen to have been introduced on Runaways through the character of Zavin, who kept referring to herself as Carolina's betrothed. Okay, so still a lot of possibilities. We've got mostly Zartans and the butterfly theory. But that brings us to number 2. There are other things in that interview that Gregg stated. For one thing, at this moment, we've come to know that they did kill Coulson at the end of Season 5 because they basically thought that Season 5 was going to be the final season of the series. It is actually funny that I looked at the numbers back when Season 5 was airing and I believed that there was going to be a Season 6, and they didn't. That's kind of crazy. But nonetheless, number 3, the chances that we get serious connections to the Marvel Cinematic Universe do exist, but they're not going to be big. So if you're watching the series for the normal reason that people watch series for, a good story, good acting, and all of that good stuff, then you're basically gonna love to keep watching. But if you're watching it to wait for a crossover, the hope of a crossover, or the series being mentioned on the movies, that's definitely not gonna happen. But here though is what Gregg said on that topic. I think in the early days it was very much an experiment, and honestly, Marvel was really one big company, and now it's really not. I think it's really 2 separate divisions, and there was a real desire to tread very carefully what we were doing with the movies. Like at the end of Season 1, with the Hydra reveal in Captain America Winter Soldier, it turned our show upside down. But I think when the show started to really find its best stride was when our writers decided, screw it, we're going to take what we can get, and there's a lot of stuff Marvel Studios doesn't seem to be using. They don't seem to be using LMDs, they don't seem to be using Ghost Rider, or the framework. At first we did not believe that we were doing Secret Warriors, but then it became clear, oh, that's Quake. They've ingeniously taken the parts of the Marvel Universe, which is broad, that no one seemed to be interested in, and we've squeezed every drop out of them, and really let our train go on its own track. So pretty much the statement hints at the divide between Marvel Television and Marvel Studios. The statement does hint at the idea that we're kind of trying to keep up with the Marvel Cinematic Universe, the movie side, but we're still doing our own thing. We don't care anymore to be attached to it at the hip. It's kind of irritating, to be honest, when you think about it. Like, okay, you know what? We're gonna wait for them to tell us what they're doing in order for us to decide, sometimes on very short notice, what to do. No, we're gonna do our own thing, we're gonna do it right, and we're gonna make the stories better. And that is exactly what Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. has been doing season after season. But number 4, once again assuming that every single word about Season 6 Gregg tells us is actually to be taken at face value without any kind of doubt, there's this chance that every single theory that we've discussed before when it comes to Phil Coulson happens to be wrong. Like, who's this new Phil Coulson? So alright, here's what Gregg stated. There's some strange anomaly happening that feels like a very threatening rupture every time it occurs, and there are these people, these humanoid people who show up in the footage, and one of them looks a lot like Coulson. He's bad, he's dangerous, and terrifying, he's a different person, and it's difficult for everyone to cope with, but especially Agent May and Daisy. Now first and foremost, this statement is kind of confirmation that this new version of Phil Coulson is going to be an evil doppelganger of the character. It also tells us that number 5, he is not going to be alone. He's going to be visiting Earth, and he's going to be paying these visits, or this one visit, with other people of his race or whatever. Now there's more to this statement, but we first need to remember number 6. We've already been told that Season 6 is going to kind of have 2 arcs, like 2 arcs happening in parallel, but nonetheless 2 arcs. There's the space arc, the search for Fitz arc, and that one is basically the one that deals with the characters of Daisy, Fitz, and Gemma, and also Daviiz, Piper, and Enoch. But like I said, 2 arcs, so the other arc is the back home, back on Earth arc, and on this arc the characters of MacLeod, May, and Deke will be involved. But the statement that this is basically gonna hit harder with May and Daisy does bring us to number 7. It would make a lot of sense that the arc involving Fitz is not gonna last the entire season, but rather only a few episodes, like maybe 3, maybe 4 episodes, but nonetheless, not a lot more. The requirement for this entire thing, the man who carries the face of Coulson, to kind of hit hard when it comes to Daisy, is that she is actually back on Earth, like physically back on Earth. So I'm thinking over here, there are going to be like minor stuff happening back on Earth over the course of the first 3 episodes, like the introduction to this entire anomaly thing, and then after that we're going to be getting the full scale of it, and at the same time, Daisy, Gemma, and Fitz will be making their way back to Earth. But moving on to number 8, there is a little bit of talk out there about Season 7, the premiere of Season 7, and it is quite promising, so I felt like I had to mention it. But beware, spoiler alert, even though that is kind of public news and was posted online like a million times, but nonetheless, spoiler alert. Okay, so rumor has it, let's call it a rumor for the time being, that FDR, the American President, Franklin D. Roosevelt, is going to be featuring on the premiere of Season 7. How's that gonna happen? What does that mean for the series? I've got no clue. There are basically many questions to pose over here. Like for example, the main question that comes to mind is, will this be a flashback, or is it gonna have something to do with time travel? Now either way, there is the question of, what kind of characters are we gonna see during that period? Are we gonna see Peggy Carter again? Are we gonna see Jarvis? And let us not forget Howard Stark. Is there a chance in hell that Patrick Warburton is going to reprise his role on Season 7 that he did portray on Season 5, even though only in video messages, and we're actually going to see one of the first founders of S.H.I.E.L.D., Rick Stoner? But number 9, it is not official, but it is kind of rumored, and strongly rumored, that Season 7 might be the final season of the series, and just so we are not really selectively listening over here, might is the operative word. But let us assume for a moment that this is going to be the case. Is there a chance in hell that all of this is basically setting up a spin-off? Is it possible as well that we might get a revival of Agent Carter? I mean, a lot of people have been looking forward to that kind of thing. Now I know this sounds like I'm only posing questions over here, but I'm actually trying to list possibilities. But moving on to everything we've already known from before, number 10, the series has been renewed for Season 6 and 7, that's the obvious. Number 11, the filming for Season 7 has already started. Number 12, Coulson is alive. Number 13, Deke is going to be back for the upcoming season, and he is alive. Number 14, we're going to be seeing Enoch once again. Number 15, Fitz might have died on the finale of Season 5, but nonetheless there's another version of him out there. That's basically Icicle Fitz. Number 16, the title of the premiere is Missing Pieces, and I'm assuming that refers to 2 things. The first thing is basically about missing people out of the team, pieces of the team, that being Fitz and Coulson, and the second thing is probably all about the puzzle of finding Fitz, and the puzzle of sorting out what's going on back on Earth. Number 17, Gregg is going to be directing the premiere of Season 6, that being Missing Pieces, and that is basically going to be the second episode he's directed for the series. The first one was the 6th episode of the 5th season. Number 18, as per the usual, except for Season 5, Season 6 of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is going to start with a time jump. This time around though, it's going to be 1 year, exactly the time the series has been off the air. Number 19, the series has moved its premiere date from a summertime premiere to a springtime premiere, and it's going to be premiering in May 2019. Number 20, we've got no news yet on the premiere date for Season 7. Number 21, the new season is going to start with Mac being the director of S.H.I.E.L.D. He's going to have to make a few tough decisions, and it's basically going to be difficult for a lot of people, especially Yo-Yo. As per the usual, Mac is going to be afraid to put anyone he cares about, anyone he loves, in the line of fire, and that's going to stir up a lot of trouble. But number 22, the new season is going to start off by presenting us with people's grief over the loss of Coulson. As expected, the two people we're going to be seeing grief the most over the loss of this guy happen to be May and Daisy. Number 23, with the 5th season being very emotional, the upcoming season is promising us a lot of comedy. Well, not exactly a lot as in a crazy amount, but definitely a lot more than Season 5. Enough for us to actually not feel the emotional impact that we did feel over the course of Season 5. You know, people dying, close to dying, almost dying, and people losing their arms. Number 24, a lot of people believe that they have spotted Fitz on the trailer, the one and only trailer released for Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Season 6. Now, every single person who believes that we're going to be seeing the personality of the Doctor, and that's actually a possibility, but nonetheless, I do believe that there's another possibility. I believe with the possibility of alternate realities, considering the wormhole on the trailer, there's a good chance that this is a completely different character and from another reality. And I'm thinking over here, Hunter. Because with that distance, no matter how you blow it up, you can see a clear face, and the very similarities that has us say, okay, you know what, this guy is Dr. Fitz, are really similarities that you could apply to none other than Lance Hunter when thinking of facial features. Number 25, speaking of new characters, we've got Butterfly, and I've already talked about her in detail on another video, and she's basically front and center in one of my theories, so I'm not going to discuss her anymore. Number 26, we've got a new agent. He's going to be a funny agent, and that agent happens to be Agent Damon. Now, as opposed to recurring new characters like Butterfly, Agent Damon is only going to be showing up for only one episode throughout the entire season. Number 27, there's another new character that we're going to be knowing by the name of Professor L. Now, without going into too much detail, Professor L has a positive outlook on humanity, but nonetheless is a disgruntled and bitter man. He's also been identified as a brilliant scientist, so to make a long story short, he reminds us of Holden Ratcliffe. Number 28, Jacko and Pax, two new mercenaries that are going to be added to the roster of Season 6. Now, Jacko has been identified as the silent kind, but also someone who sounds really smart when he speaks, while on the other hand, Pax has been identified as the funny one. Number 29, it's a staple of each video for me to mention the snap. Will it affect Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Season 6, or will it not? Now, chances are it will not, because I believe a lot of people believe that time travel will be involved in Endgame, and the Avengers are basically gonna cancel the snap like it never happened. They're gonna stop it from happening to start with. Number 30, it's another staple of each video I make on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Season 6 to quickly try and discuss the question of, will Bobby and Hunter make it back? Now, in my opinion, there's always a good chance that Lance Hunter is going to make it back. He made it back on Season 5, and it is a possibility he's going to be making it back on Season 6. I just mentioned that earlier. But when it comes to Bobby, though, it's kind of a lot more uncertain, considering Adrienne Palicki, the actress who used to portray the role on earlier seasons, is currently busy with the Orville. Now, she is the lead actress of that series, unless she was written out or died on the series. I haven't watched Season 2 yet, but nonetheless, because I don't think so, she's probably busy with that and she didn't have time to film any episodes for Season 6. But finally though, number 31, a poster has been released for Season 6 of the series, and as you see right now, we can see all our usual suspects on this poster, only the placement of Coulson is kind of a little bit strange, like he's the evil guy, like he's basically watching them, observing them. The poster also seems to have split the teams into two, like the exact teams, the one going to space and the one staying back on Earth. But that being said though, my work here is done, so let me know in the comments down below if there's any piece of news that I missed mentioning over here. Let me know as well if you did like this video by dropping it a much appreciated like, subscribing to this channel, and enabling notifications to get updated on my future videos, community posts, and live streams. But until the next time that you tune in for another one of my videos, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. or otherwise, thank you so much for tuning in to this one, and have a great day.